There's no sound on the stream. Now you may be saying, what are you talking about the stream, Lonzo? Well, let me tell you before I make the introductions that we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. On Facebook, you can get us at the Upstate Pulse or at News Talk 98.9. On Twitter, you can get us at News Talk 98.9 or Lonzo one word. At YouTube, you can get us maybe, well, it looks like, yes, it looks like you can get us on News Talk 98.9 or the Upstate Pulse, and on Twitch at the Upstate Pulse. A bunch of people on there, and apologize for not having the sound on because we were watching a trailer earlier and I had to take it off. And sorry that we watched the trailer. We will talk about that in the second hour. By the way, if you want to go ahead and get ahead of it, the One Piece live action trailer is out and we watched it, and we will save our comments. It's going to be hard to save our comments, but we're going to save it till hour number 2. We are going to be talking a little Father's Day today because Father's Day is tomorrow. Got some questions for everybody about that. And we're going to review the Flash movie. All three of us saw it. You may be saying, who are all three of us? Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Trust me, I will get to it. We've got it. Oops. We're going to talk some Diablo 4, and the Xbox showcase happened, and there was lots of news about that. We're going to get to that. So before then, like I said, T2 not here again today, but I am here doing everything because I can. And Cameron, the upgrade, is here.
I am.
And
Hi-ho.
Yeah. Hi-ho yourself.
Hi-ho.
And Matthew is also here.
Yeah, I'm here.
He's also here, and we are raring to go. If this is your first time, I've never said that before, but I did now. So I'll never say it again. It could be the hat. I'm wearing a bucket hat just because. And
little did you know, there's a little bit of Pappy essence in there.
No. I was thinking more like Mr. Coach Klein. But you know, so
I was wondering what you were doing in the other room with the phone and the high heels.
Yeah, well, I was talking to Grandma. That's what you do. I got a bucket hat when I was at the beach. When you have a large cranium such as mine, you have to work through trying to figure. Now I know I can go with the 10-gallon hat, which probably will fit snug, but those things are expensive, and I ain't no cowboy. And plus, as you learned last week, I don't like country. So why would I wear a cowboy hat unless I was like in Texas and out there doing some roping and stuff of cattle and you know, things like that. But I'm not doing that. So I'm trying to find a hat that works. Got a bucket hat, and like everything that I do to troll people. And
I should get you a D'Artagnan-like hat, like a musketeer hat.
I could rock a musketeer
with a
hat.
Giant feather.
I can rock a beret. I've done that before. And if I go bandana, it's straight up Hulk Hogan. Do you know who Hulk Hogan is, Matthew? Okay, listen, I got to ask.
I can do the song.
It's not.
I can do the song.
I always feel a little bit bad. Like Matthew thinks, why do you always ask me this stuff? I know what he knows, and you're the only other person in the room.
Hulk Hogan is like mainstream pop culture, though.
He is. Yeah. But I wonder if he still is, though. I mean,
less so. But remember, I'm in my mid-20s, so I was around when he was main pop culture. So
okay, so anyway, I'm trying to find a hat, and
he's not that young.
So I went with the bucket hat, and no one commented on it on the fan, which is, you know, I'm on the Rob Brown show, starring Rob Brown and me.
I have a question for you. Were you wanting backlash?
No, I just
were you wanting something to push off of?
No, I got acceptance. Acceptance is no troll. No troll is acceptance.
Did you know how to handle that?
No, which is why I'm bringing it up now. I don't know how to handle that. But anyway,
wait, you guys actually like this?
So one of the hosts on our sister station, our brother station, The Fan, which is a sports station, which again I am on. I helped build that thing. Is Mark Ryan, who's downstairs doing a national show, filling in for CBS Sports Radio, and he just stared at the hat. So I kept the conversation going just to watch him stare at the hat.
It was a lingering game.
So I got satisfaction out of that. I mean, that he stared at the hat. I don't think he knew what to say. So I can't tell if he liked it or didn't like it. Yes, we're spending time talking about my hat because, as Jake Hager says, I love this hat. It's also, that's a reference Matthew won't get, and that's fine. That is an AEW reference.
It's one of those things of like when someone changes up their look, and they've had the same look for years upon years, and you thought they would never go with like this particular accessory, and then they do it. It just breaks their mind a bit.
It does. It absolutely does. You know what else breaks people's minds? This broke my mind, and I'm mentioning the fam one more time because I was told I was weird. And I put this up on social media because I eat breakfast. I know Cameron eats breakfast. Matthew, do you eat breakfast?
Yeah.
There are a bunch of people out there who do not eat breakfast, and I don't understand that. And I
There's a
know
lot of people that wake up later is what I've seen.
well, some people I work with who don't wake up late don't eat breakfast. They don't eat their first meal till like afternoon, and I don't understand that. And I want to say, when you're cranky or you're a little nervous or you're a little shaky, maybe you should eat something.
Yeah.
And well, my metabolism is different. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is. So my question is for you, and we're going to ask this throughout the day. Text line 71307. Do you eat breakfast? And if you don't eat breakfast, do you think people who do eat breakfast are weird?
Viper Dave's got it right here on our Twitch chat there. Best meal of the day, and it's even better for supper. I agree. I love doing breakfast for supper.
Oh, me too. Me too. That especially as a kid, if I was over my aunt and uncle's house, sometimes my uncle, my namesake Lonzo, would say, "I want breakfast for supper," and we'd have breakfast for supper, and it was just so cool because it was just a weird concept as a kid. It's like in your brain, you think you can only have that at a certain time of day, and then you find out, no, I can have that for supper
He's
too.
changing the natural order.
Yeah.
What kind of wizardry is this?
It's great because you can make like a lot of food for really cheap for your dinner, and it's good for you usually, depending on what you do.
Well, that is true. And as long as it doesn't screw up things in your head and make you think,
Potatoes and more
Yeah.
gravy, then more biscuits and more
When
potatoes.
This is
I'll
more
do like
gravy.
an omelet and then either some toast or maybe I'll do some muffins or something. I've done biscuits or English muffins before as well, some kind of starch in there, and then cook on some sausage as well, some sausage patties.
all right, Mark on the stream says, I eat breakfast even in the afternoon when I work night shift. Hey, I mean,
Oh yeah,
breakfast is good. Viper Dave says we call it binner at my house, as long as it's not bender, because that's something totally different, as I understand. Let's
I'll be
see.
eating a robot.
Chris says I saw the Flash movie
I
and
understood
loved
that
it. We're
reference.
gonna be talking about Flash probably in the next segment. But before we get to all that, and I will get to let's see, text line. Hey guys, I like a late breakfast or an early lunch period. Okay. Texture says vodka and ice is my breakfast. Okay.
I don't think that's a very healthy breakfast.
Probably not. Probably not. Tomorrow is Father's Day, and it's a pretty big deal for dads. If you have one, which I didn't, but I had a couple stepdads. But the main thing is something I always wanted to be as someone who didn't have a father is a father and have kids so that they would have a father, and they do. And I know if that sounds confusing, it shouldn't be because it was pretty easy. So when we come back, we're going to talk about Father's Day, but I want to drop this on you. Text line 71307 or hit us up on the stream. What is one of the cool things that you and your dad have done or do together? This is something that you do that's really, really cool. It doesn't necessarily have to be pop culture or video games or anything like that. It's just something, maybe it's fishing. I mean, something that you guys do together. Maybe you guys both read the newspaper at the same time. Doesn't matter. It's a dad and child sort of thing. We want to hear about that. Text line 71307 or hit us up on the stream. By the way, we're continuing the show during the breaks. If you didn't know that, you need to go on the stream and you'll see that. You're listening to the Upstate Pulse right here on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Everything just sounds really quiet. I guess it's just low. Oh no. Oh no.
Crank the volume.
Turn up the guy.
Crank it up.
So if you're eating breakfast and it's not breakfast food, it's still breakfast. We talked about this a little bit on the Rob Brown show, and people were like, well, I don't fast, so I don't have to break it. It's like, come on. Because breakfast is breaking your fast.
I know, but that's just being like a certain
Semantic.
Type of,
It's no, it's fine.
that's an anal
I
thing
it's
right
not.
there.
It's not necessarily that. It's just they're coming at me the way
Well,
that.
excuse me, sir. I do not fast, so I do not break my fast. I do not consume my meals in the morning.
By the way, I fasted like 3 weeks ago involuntarily, and I would not suggest it.
'Tis not a good thing. While staring at the painting, which is death.
Well,
Staring at
it was very symbolic.
at the death painting.
That empty parking bench, the dead leaves in the fall. Very inspiring to someone who feels like they're dying as they're laying in the hospital. And yes, Trey, Jake would appreciate this hat. He would love this hat.
Is he even still wrestling?
Yeah. He's
Where?
in AEW. He's a member of the Jericho Appreciation Society, the JAS. Actually, I think he's wrestling tonight.
There's so many things in wrestling that just sounds like it's made up, but I know it's real.
I think he's wrestling tonight against Wardlow. Their new thing happens tonight with a bunch of wrestlers I don't like.
Oh yeah.
CM Punk and all the people who ain't been on TV. I do love Miro, but that's, his gimmick was really good.
Cancer or mesothelioma and been exposed to asbestos. Listen to this message closely because you could be entitled to significant compensation. Lung cancer and mesothelioma are highly destructive forms of.
Apologize. Sometimes I don't talk as much when I'm producing because I'm, doing other stuff too.
And I'm only sort of here. Yeah, that's really cool, Viper Dave. It's always good to game together with family.
Call 800-712-9910 right now to see if you qualify for compensation, even if you smoked. Don't wait. Call 800-712-9910 to see if you may be entitled to significant compensation.
You guys are going to love the Flash review. It's going to get heated. It's going to be anger. People are going to storm out of the room.
Whoa.
I'm ready.
You wonder who it is.
Whoa.
Oh, it's a Luchasaurus, Mark. I'm sorry. I thought for sure that maybe it was last night because I didn't watch last night.
I need to grab something to throw, right?
Do what?
I need to grab something to throw for the argument.
Throw yourself.
Are you sure you want that?
No, go ahead. Throw
The
yourself.
most destructive
All
thing
right.
I can throw?
Everyone wants to see you throw yourself.
In which direction?
Have you ever thrown yourself, Matthew?
No, I don't think I have.
I actually technically threw myself like during like a play or something. People were not expecting it. I threw myself clean down a stairwell. Like, not stairwell, but there was like a couple stairs
I was
there.
going to say, that's a lot of, a stairwell. I think, at least 15 steps?
No. It was not a stairwell. I should not have said that.
I threw myself down the stairwell.
Hey, you know
once.
that place
that's
where
what I
John Wick got
did.
kicked?
All the way down the stairwell.
All the way down the stairwell.
Welcome back into the Upstate Pulse. Lonzo, Matthew, and Cameron here on a beautiful Saturday night having some fun. Let's go to the text line. Texter Tex Flaccid. Thank you. We appreciate that. If you don't know the story behind that, there are many years of broadcasts on YouTube and Facebook. Go check it out. You'll understand why. Not
The
enough time
history
to
of
explain.
Flaccid.
Yes. Let's see. Texter says, my father and I just got back from a trip to Scotland together. Tracing our ancestry. He will be 73 this week. That's cool. Tell him we said happy birthday. Texter says, my dad passed away 2.5 years ago. I miss everything about him. Jim and Easley. Sorry for your loss, Jim. It's rough. And I'm sure that I'm not going to do that. It gets easier thing because we know how that goes. Let's see. Mark on the stream says, shout out to Kid Flaccid. let's see. Viper says, my daughter, who's now 20, and I spend time washing the car/motorcycle collection together, and we love playing Skyrim together. Most times she's on the Switch and I'm rocking the Xbox. That is cool. That is really cool. So I'll go first on this. And this is a thing that Cameron and I share. You guys know we share just about everything as far as video games and all that kind of stuff. So I want to talk about something else that we share that he has no idea what I'm going to talk about. And this is something, it's not going to make you cry or anything. So don't worry about that. Because I wouldn't try to do that to you, because I don't think it would boost ratings. I mean,
I don't think so. Nobody wants to see me ugly cry on the street.
They are what they are. This is something that I also share with a lot of people, and so does Cameron. And I learned that when I got to interview Dan Severin. So one of the things that Cameron and I were able to share is amateur wrestling, and the fact that Cameron, much better wrestler than I ever was, although I was probably better on my feet, because if not, you had to do 500 squats, and I didn't like doing that. But so much so that Cameron probably didn't realize my wrestling knowledge until I was on the side of the mat telling him to do things, which caused there to be a new rule about parents not being allowed down on the mat. But, you know, the thing is, and I loved his wrestling coach, a great dude, still is. But he doesn't realize how clever I am. And so when Lawrence was hosting the Upper State tournament, I did the sound. And by doing the sound, guess what I got to do? I got to be down on the floor.
Yep.
And so he couldn't tell me to go up in the stands because I was doing the sound. So I was able to be over there for every match that Cameron was doing, because I may not be smart, but I am clever. And I got down there and was able to do that. So we share amateur wrestling. And when I talked about it with Dan Severin, as soon as he just perked up and was just like, he's like, Lonzo, people who didn't wrestle don't get it. There's just a camaraderie there. And everybody, you find out someone wrestled. It's the same thing with Rob Young from Borderlands Comics and Games, wrestler.
Yeah. It's camaraderie through shared suffering.
Well,
and experience.
Well, I guess you could do it. I mean, yeah, it's bad, but winning is awesome.
Oh, winning is fantastic.
Yes, it definitely is.
But you have to put in the work to be able to win.
Well, just like in anything, including radio or if you fish or anything like that, you got to put the work in, unless you're just extremely lucky. Matthew, is there anything you want to share about you and your dad, something you do?
Yeah, I mean, my dad and I have a pretty good, just kind of not close relationship, I guess I should say. I have a good, strong relationship with my father, but we just don't really do a whole lot of stuff together a lot of the times, just because we don't share some of the same interests, primarily with sports and things like that. But growing up, one of the things that I will always attribute heavily to with my dad is the fact that he's pretty much one of the main reasons that I am as much of a movie fanatic as I am, because he started taking me to the movies with him sometimes when he'd go see some different action flicks and stuff. And I still remember going and seeing Red 2 in theaters specifically. And it was around that time is why I remember it, that I really started finding my love for movies and film and things like that. And so I heavily attribute that back to him and that time that I got to spend with him. So I'm looking forward to spending the day with him tomorrow.
That is cool. It really is. And we're just talking about little things. It doesn't have to be anything major. It's just time that you spend together. Cameron, is there anything that you would like to add?
I'm trying to think. Well, like you were saying before.
Think very carefully about what you're going to say.
I'll go, well, not really the most obvious route, but throughout my life, you have involved me with so much of the stuff that you do. And I have always appreciated that, because it's given me so many stories to get to tell, whether it's about the band or about radio or about all these different things, including just all the different hijinks just in general that happen with this sort of thing.
Yeah, hijinks. That pretty much that describes radio.
And
completely.
just like, because the other thing is, the one thing I've always I don't know what's the right way to put this. You've respected my creativity and all that stuff.
I told you.
You were gonna do.
I told you.
Tisk.
I was about to ask, is the crane coming to pull me off stage?
No, but that works out pretty well because you're starting to get mushy. We don't need all that.
All right. So one of the things that I always appreciate about.
Well, let me interrupt you again.
All right.
And then I played the wrong thing, so I gotta double do the thing. All right, go ahead.
Are you sure I'm getting mushy or are you getting mushy? Because you're pressing all the wrong buttons. All right. You ask my advice on things, and I always appreciate that. As far as like tech goes and stuff like that. Double noob. Including I don't know if you remember this or not, but like 6 or 7 years ago, when you and I were talking about this stuff, I was just starting to like mess with like the YouTube video stuff in general. And then you and I started talking about streaming the show. And you were wanting to get into it and you're trying to figure out how. And then as a Father's Day gift, I got you the first camera that you used for your setup.
Oh yeah, I absolutely remember that. And you're the one who suggested OBS. And that's how the whole thing started.
I was about to say, so streaming and like doing this section of the show is inexplicably tied to Father's Day.
Okay. So I appreciate that. So you're not just trying to take credit for it. You're just really, I mean, because you could easily,
I mean, thing. You were wanting to do it and you asked me.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just making sure. I mean, because, some people would do that. Some people would take credit for it. All right. We're going to take our second break. And as we do, I'm curious, who is your favorite TV, movie, or video game father? Let us know. Text line 71307 or Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. I mean, because, who's your favorite TV dad? Yeah, I jinxed myself. I told myself I was going to do it, and then I did it.
There it is.
Now I'm going to be extra sensitive, so if either one of you.
Also, speaking of Father's Day, we're watching Shang-Chi on the TV.
What a good dad that guy is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was for a while.
He was.
Until he wasn't.
Until he wasn't. It was all great until it wasn't.
He did bequeath the rings,
And he taught his son,
as he died, but
he also taught his son how to defend himself.
He did.
How to deal with bullies.
He sure did traumatize that child.
I'm sure he traumatized a lot of people in that place.
Yep.
It's like, I've never seen a man's head do that before. It's like, I wonder if they're aware of who Gallagher was. So those deep cut jokes that when you get it, you're gonna go, oh.
I got it, by the way.
Of course you did. You're sharp like that.
Oh no, not
just
today.
talking about
I'm
the
not.
hat.
Not today. I'm
No,
not.
we're both.
No, I'm good. I got it out of my system, so I'm ready to go. Yeah, I see all your comments, but I'm gonna save them for the air. Also, in the next segment, we're gonna talk about Flash, and then we're gonna fight. We're not really gonna fight. I do know one thing, and I'm curious to see if Matthew agrees. So Rob Brown kept saying it's a Batman movie, which he hasn't seen it. I'm like, no, it's not. After going to see it, it's not a Batman movie.
No,
it's
not.
The
trailers made it look like
the trailers made it look like, but it was not a Batman movie.
It was a selling point.
Unless you
for sure.
consider multiple Batman making it a Batman movie, it was not a Batman. And we're not going to spoil when we talk about it. Obviously, you've seen that there are multiple Batmans in the trailer. So,
The Batmans.
The Batmans.
Oh no, it's the Batmans. Wait a second. Oh no, there are two of them. This is getting out of hand.
Sort of, Chris. Sort of.
Maybe.
Well, technically for that, I don't know how to say it without being spoilery.
Continuity.
It's a Flashpoint adaptation.
Yes,
That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
which is what it was billed
Um,
as.
I would
so-
argue a pretty bad one, but a Flashpoint adaptation.
Well, you're going to wait and argue that on the air because that's more fun that way.
Yeah, exactly.
We want the full.
And
Oh.
now we call Matthew Causey to the stand. What are your arguments, sir? Please keep the vitriol to a minimum, and I ask for the other person on the other stand, Alonzo, to keep his retorts nice, quick, and forthwith.
You ain't the boss of me.
Aware of that, but we're doing a bit. I'm doing a bit.
In theory is a good way of putting it.
Well, if you liked it or didn't like it, that's it. So, I mean, that's it for that, except for Aquaman that comes out later in the year. That's it. The whole thing's being rebooted. Good shot that he is never Flash again.
Good.
Yeah. I will also say I like Grant Gustin better as Flash, even though the writing has gone completely downhill.
I prefer the cartoon Flash, who's also
Yeah.
Lex Luthor.
Who's also the best Lex Luthor.
Yes, I prefer Michael Rosenbaum
Yes,
because that's what Flash is supposed to be, goofy and all that. Which Ezra Miller's
I
kind
was
of.
about to say if we were including animated, I would say Rosenbaum is the best one.
By a long shot.
Absolutely.
I miss my hero. We'll have to wait another year to find out, what's going on with that. But yeah,
I know what's going on.
How
yeah,
are things
because
going to get worse?
you've read the manga, so yeah, don't you do that to
He
me.
has the knowledge. He's
Yes,
a keeper.
he wouldn't do that anyway. Welcome back into
Depends
the
on how bad this goes.
welcome back. Well, it could be that. Welcome back into the Upstate Pulse. Text line is 71307. Check us out on Facebook, either at News Talk 98.9 or the Upstate Pulse. I asked before the break, who's your favorite TV, movie, video game dad? Let's see. On the stream, I thought I saw one. Viper Dave says growing up, it would have been Bill Cosby. Forget what we know now, but he was a great figure. Yeah, at the time he was. And then he says, and Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince. Chris says Batman, favorite TV dad. Let's see on text line 71307, Steve Martin and Father of the Bride 1 and 2. Yeah, I love Steve Martin and Father of the Bride. Archie, because I watched with my dad that loved it. Yeah, Archie probably wouldn't do so well in this. Are you telling Archie Bunker? Yeah, it would have to be because the other Archie isn't a dad. Not exactly the best. Texter says Darth Vader is my favorite father from the movies. And Dr. Henry Jones. I think you got to go with Dr. Henry Jones.
Junior. I always think of how it should have ended, and they have a version of Darth Vader. Like as soon as he hears that Luke's his son, he's like, "Wait a second, I have a son."
Oh yeah, I know what you're
Guys!
talking about.
It just completely loses it.
So a couple for Uncle Phil, and I get to I'm trying to think who my favorite TV dad would be, and it may be Mr. Brady. I don't know, from the Brady Bunch, because you go back to when you're a kid, and the thing is, as I said, didn't really know my dad, so you're looking around for. I wonder what that seemed like. It was a mixed family, and it worked really well. Mixed as in the dad brought some kids, the mom brought some kids, and it looked like a fun time.
I think the only real answer to who's the best dad is Maze Hughes from Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, don't do that! Don't do that to me.
But he is though.
I wasn't even thinking about that, but if we're talking about crap.
All right. In the meantime, text line says Rick Grimes. Okay. I don't know. Also, Trey says Carl Winslow from Family Ties. Yeah, but he's not from Family Ties. It's from Family
Matters.
Family Matters. Yeah, Family Ties.
I
Michael J. Fox.
I would say that my vote would be Uncle Phil. just because he
was rich and he could play pool, and he was actually a pretty good dad. Yeah.
he was a very good dad. He checked all the boxes.
If he could have just taught Will to not slap comedians
Yes.
while they're on stage, hosting things out, that would have been good. That would have been really good. All right, let's get to our flash review. All right, we are going to do it without spoilers, and because we don't do that the weekend that's out. I will say, looked at box office. It is number one in the box office right now. Last couple of days, probably going to do pretty well. My first way to judge a movie, other than whether it's good or not on the screen, is who shows up for it. And it was a weird demographic for us on Thursday night because I hadn't seen this happen, but there were entire groups of teenage dudes coming in to watch the show, to watch the movie. And different ethnicities, all that kind of stuff. So it was a mix of older people like me, a couple of people Cameron's age, and mostly young people. It really was that.
If you wanted to say what was the demographic for it, yes,
Yeah, it was.
Everybody was there.
And it was unusually crowded for a 2D movie on a Thursday night. They didn't care about it enough to put it in IMAX until Friday night because they still had Transformers in there. I will say that there was applause during the movie when we watched it several different times. There was a angry groan at one part, which we won't talk about near the end of the movie, which was warranted.
Which I thought was funny.
Yeah, so did I, because I feel like on their way out, they trolled everybody, and I appreciate a good troll. And the CGI was pretty bad. The filmmaker, the director, has said that it was bad on purpose because it was from Barry's perspective, and while he's in the Speed Force, everything it's Andy
Which is
Muschietti.
the absolute most cover-up way. No, guys, it was meant to be bad. I swear.
All right, so Matthew, I agree with you. I thought that was pretty lame. It was. If you go to see the movie, and you should, I think you should go, and I think Cameron will agree that you should. Do you agree that you should go see it?
Oh, absolutely.
Matthew, I was going to say no, but I think you should go see it. But you're not going to come out of it like you did after Guardians. You're not going to come out of it with that
Not even comparable.
sense of feel. But I really enjoyed the movie. I thought the story was pretty good. I thought the cameos were excellent, and it was kind of predictable, but I liked the movie. If you can get past the CGI in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie, I thought it was a pretty good movie. Again, we're not going to spoil. Next week, we will get into detail and probably will really get into the things that we liked and Matthew didn't like, but it's hard to get into it too much. I will say the director has confirmed there is a 4-hour cut that exists of the movie with a bunch more cameos and fan service on your way out, because this is the end basically of the Snyderverse.
Yep.
And we are getting Aquaman, but for the most part, this is the end. James Gunn said in an interview, this is it, that the first character for the DCU is actually Blue Beetle, and the first movie for the new DCU is the new Superman movie. So this is it. They're on their way out. All right. Was there anything redeeming about this movie at all for you, Matthew?
Some of the performances were pretty all right.
From who? Okay, the ones that we saw on the on the trailer.
Most all of the Batmen did a good job for the most part. I thought
Keaton was excellent.
Yeah,
I really
I'd say
did.
so.
Keaton was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
But Keaton was Keaton. He basically is kind of the same guy in any movie like this, as far as his sense of humor and his quirkiness and all that kind of stuff. And I thought he did pretty good as Batman. He's still not my favorite Batman. He was.
Yeah.
I'm still going with Affleck as my favorite Batman because of his build. I think his build is more like Batman the animated series. And I think that's one of the reasons why I loved Affleck back when he was not in this movie, because he's let himself go as far as that goes.
Oh yeah.
But back during Batman vs. Superman and Justice League, he really built himself up, especially upper body and everything. And I thought he was stocky, like like Batman is in the animated series. So what's the worst part of this that you can actually talk about without spoiling?
Without spoiling, it's probably the CGI. The writing is
Yeah.
pretty bad overall. I thought that there was a lot of contrivances and just general. Yeah, they sure did try and come up with how to do a different take on Flashpoint, which is already kind of convoluted, but a fun kind of convoluted. Instead, they took the fun out and just made it bad. But the visuals were awful. Just absolutely nothing redeemable about most of that CGI. It would look like a PS2 game. It was so bad.
It was pretty bad in spots. So I will tell you, I don't know how what you're going to think about this, Matthew, but that director is going to be directing Batman: Brave and the Bold, the new Batman movie. It was just announced last night.
Oh, all right then. Well, we'll see.
Which is going to be Batman and Damian Wayne, which I'm looking forward to because we haven't had
They're gonna
Damian
put
Wayne on the screen.
Damian Wayne in Brave and the Bold universe kind of style.
Well, it's not. They're just.
It's just
Brave
called
Brave and the Bold was actually a comic book series
Yeah.
before it became the campy thing.
Oh,
that it
okay,
is
okay.
yeah.
I hear Brave and the Bold, and I immediately think about the
this is
animated series.
it's
which
not
is
going to be
absolutely amazing.
It's not going to be that because James Gunn says that Damian Wayne is his favorite Robin, and he's also said that other members of the Bat family will show up. So it's not
Right.
like they're going to put Damian Wayne in and say he was the only Robin ever.
You really can't do that.
No, you can't.
No, because he's like the last.
That's kind of the integral to his character.
And there's a lot of mentorship that comes from the other Robins for Damian Wayne also. And
No, exactly.
so we'll see what happens there.
By the way, something to mention about the director for The Flash, it's Andy Muschietti. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, but he also directed It, like the movie versions of It,
No.
which I feel like were very good movies, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
So he has good work. It's just a matter of, and there's a whole crap with Warner Brothers and all this other stuff going on. So,
all right, Chris on the stream says, Matthew, your Marvel bias is showing.
This isn't a Marvel bias. I
I-
trashed on Marvel stuff just as much as I have
trying,
some of the DC
I'm trying to
stuff.
remember the last time you trashed on a Marvel product.
what was
Most
the
everything except for Guardians of the
I was
Galaxy
about- I
when
was
I've
about-
been on this show. Yeah.
I was about to say, what was the movie before Guardians? You
Yeah, it
trashed
just-
that?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
He did. Well, it was Ant-Man.
I think
Yeah, he did trash Ant-Man.
Ant-Man was
Yeah, he did.
awful.
Okay. All right. So you're
Doctor
consistent.
Strange was kind of middling. There was some redeemable stuff to it, but it definitely has fallen down to me over time. So like, yeah, no, it's not a bias thing. It's just
I'm
as someone who grew up mostly with DC, mostly the animated DC stuff. I'm a big DC fan. So
I am merely just making sure that people realize that Matthew is consistent.
All right. Well, you sticking up. Good for you. We all know
We
who the
protect
real
our people here.
the real well, except the
It's
real
our house.
the-
We
the-
protect our house.
the real DC hater's not here.
No, he's
today.
not.
Yeah.
So let's give it a rating really quick, and again we'll break it down next week. I'm gonna see. I'm just too nice. I'm gonna go with 3.75 out of 5. Cameron,
I'm going with
CGI really hurt it for me. It
Oh, yeah.
did, but I still enjoyed the movie.
I'll go with 3.5 cans of tomatoes.
There we go. I see
I'd-
what you did there.
give it like a 1.5, maybe 2 out
Wow.
of 5.
Wow.
Like it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's bad. It's
So-
pretty bad.
So Matthew is saying don't waste your money.
Don't waste your money.
And I'm saying go see it. It's a good time
I'd lean more
on the
2 out of
weekend.
5.
Okay. All right. There we go. Cameron, should they go see it?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. All right. You are listening to the Upstate Pulse right here on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. I think Keaton also, and I've always maintained this and will forever, he is to me the best Bruce Wayne. Just because, Bruce Wayne is such a cover for Batman and should be such the opposite of what Batman is. And I think he's always pulled it off.
Because it's a theatrical mask.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne is.
Yeah. For me, as far as not if we're counting voices as well, like we were with Flash,
Oh, it would be Conroy.
Kevin Conroy
Yeah.
will
Yeah, he is
never not.
Batman.
I can't imagine anybody else as Batman.
But live action.
The live action, yeah.
I
can't
will say,
include him in that.
I believe his name was Jason O'Mara, who did the voice for Batman in like that stretch of movies and like interconnected movies and stuff for like the New 52 version
Yeah.
that ended with a whole bunch of them dying in Apocalypse War.
Yeah, that was.
Well, now Jensen Ackles has been
That was rough
Batman
for
for the
Yeah.
last
I don't
couple
know
of
if that was rough
times.
for you. I don't tend to get affected by things. That movie bothered me.
Yeah.
Seeing
I will say, like, the DC animated movies started off really fun and really good, and they just kind of slowly kind of fell down for me a little bit.
Yeah,
Gradually,
I agree.
which is really unfortunate.
I forgot what the heck I was going to say. Oh yeah, something else, Matthew. Why didn't you say father from Full Metal Alchemist? He's the best dad. He has 7 kids. He's providing for his 7 kids.
So to answer you, Viper, yeah, we're probably about the same age. I loved Keaton as Bruce Wayne. I thought he was a really good Batman. At the time, he was Batman, the best Batman when it came out. Went to the theater with my cousin Keith, who just popped on there, and Mark and Tommy and C and Frank. I think we all went for a midnight showing, and I think it's one of the only midnight showings I've ever went to see Batman and loved it. But still, to me, Ben Affleck, because of the animated series, he just had that build for me that made him look more like Batman.
Nothing says.
And we're not even mentioning a certain Batman that got all the accolades and everything. And as far as Joker goes, sorry, I love Jack and everything, but Heath Ledger is just, it was just so
Yeah.
good.
Live action, it's Heath Ledger. Voice,
It's Mark Hamill, of
yeah.
course.
You got to delineate that because you got to give them both props.
Oh yeah. Man, nothing though says good father like taking advantage of your children to surpass God. Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes. He wanted the best for them. See?
Looking out, man. Looking out. That's what you do. You look out.
He
For
was gonna.
himself.
He was gonna. Yeah. I have a question. Do you think he technically ate greed?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I've.
The whole point was
drank
he wanted greed to take the power source of the Philosopher's Stone in him.
Yeah.
You know, I respect that, Viper Dave, but at the same time, you're missing out on an excellent performance. I mean, it was such a good performance. Even if you just watched a clip of him dressed up as a nurse.
Yes, which was just it
Coming
is
out,
chaos.
coming out when the one bomb doesn't go off.
It just
It's just clicking.
also just the small nuance of him just doing hand sanitizer on his hands
Yes.
after leaving.
And the pencil
Arby's.
trick. There are so many things. Welcome back into the Upstate Pulse. Lonzo, Matthew, and Cameron on a Saturday night. And of course, you can be a part of the show. Text line 71307, or you can hit us up on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter at either the Upstate Pulse or News Talk 98.9. Like I said, we are having a lot of fun talking about the Flash movie. 2 out of the 3 of us say go see it. The other one says absolutely not. Stay away from the theater. I know I'm putting words into your mouth, but yeah, there are plenty of other things that you can do. What are some of the things they could do, Matthew, other than go see the Flash movie?
You could go watch any other movie.
Okay, I was, not the
You
paint
could go see
drying thing.
Spider-Verse because you should totally see Spider-Verse if you haven't, and if you have seen it, go see it again. I've seen it twice now.
There you go. High praise for Spider-Verse. We got enough time to get this in there. Normally I would do AI takeover, but the intro is far too long. I will fix it, like in 3 years or so. The Grammys have made a change, and we talk some music here. Here's what the Grammys are doing. There are rules now around music made with artificial intelligence. Only human creators are eligible to be submitted for consideration for, nominated for, or win a Grammy Award. A work that contains no human authorship is not eligible in any category, the Academy says. So did you ever think it would come to this, to where the Grammys have to say, hey, you can't let a computer write your song for you. You're ineligible if you do. And in this article, it says, coincidentally, the Grammy news comes in the same week Paul McCartney said he used AI to produce a final Beatles song. So the Academy says music that features elements of AI will be eligible if it meets the following requirements. The human authorship component of the work submitted must be meaningful and more than de minimis, which sounds French, but I'm not quite sure what it means. And such human,
For sure, I knew that guy in ancient Rome. Rome.
Such human authorship component must be relevant to the category in which such work is entered. E.g., if the work is submitted in a songwriting category, there must be meaningful and more than de minimis human authorship in respect of the music and or lyrics.
I really like the word de minimis.
All right, did you look it up?
It means too trivial or minor to merit consideration, especially in law.
Okay, I don't know how that applies.
They just really like the word de
yeah, they
minimis.
do. They was 2 words, but yeah, let's see. AI material incorporated into the work are not eligible to be nominees or Grammy recipients insofar as the contribution to the portion of the work that consists of such AI material is concerned. De minimis is defined, there it is, as lacking significance or importance, so minor as to merit disregard. So what they're saying is, no, you can't use AI to write a song, but you can. That's what they basically said in the thing. We don't want you to do it, but you can. It's not eligible, but it is eligible. So it's up to interpretation about whether they
should
think,
just ban it.
yeah, whether they think the AI contributed too much to the writing of the song.
They should just ban it, period.
Oh, I agree. I do agree. And we've had this discussion on the show before. So how much, if AI writes a song, and Tim's argument was it doesn't come from your heart, it doesn't come from a place of emotion. How can artificial intelligence mimic emotion? And I agree with him that to a degree, but I also believe that a good artist can make anything sound good. And so that's what it comes down to.
The other thing is they can take it and then tweak it. They don't have to use the entire thing. They can use a base for it and then just make meaningful tweaks here and there. It's like cheating off of somebody's paper, something I would never do because I was usually the one getting cheated off of.
All right. Keith on the stream says, I'm out then. There goes my hip hop bluegrass song. I'm telling you, dude. Already did that.
Keith, would you like to be part of Rob's hat?
Yeah, it's a new band.
It's a new band.
Yeah, from last week.
Nation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sensation.
I'll write you a bluegrass rap song if you want. I'll put plenty of twang in it and places for banjos and a dobro, because you got to have a dobro.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Do you know what a dobro is?
Nope.
It's a guitar that's flipped on its, I guess it's side. So they're playing it on top like it's a steel guitar, but it's actually just a regular guitar.
Oh, okay.
It's got
It's
a dobro.
playing a guitar like you would play a piano.
Yeah, well, sort of.
In that sort of shape.
Yeah, the Waffle House song, man, it's going to be excellent when it gets done. We
gotta wait for the AI to spit that out.
Now I'm thinking I should have AI write all the songs just to see and then I'll take
We should test it.
Then I'll take parts of it out. Nah, I can't do that. I can't do that. So anyway, the Grammys say that AI cannot be eligible, but they also say unless it's de minimis was whatever. So I don't know. Here's the thing. I've been talking about AI for a while, and people thinking I'm just being goofy, but they're having hearings about it. They're having to change how things are done, because once you put a tool in someone's hands that will do everything for them, a lot of people are lazy, and they're going to use that, especially if they think it can. AI is writing movies now. It's right. It gathers information of a style of a person, how they direct, how they write, and they do a song that's like that to see what it would. There's going to come a time where you're going to be going, is that real or was that written by a computer? And I don't know. The times they are changing, then we're all going to have to bow to our AI overlords eventually, or not. We can uprise.
Well, there's nothing to uprise against at the moment.
Well, no. As far as we know, there's nothing to uprise. All right, we asked earlier, who's your favorite TV dad? And a texter wrote Gomez Adams. So
Hey,
I mean,
he's a solid dad.
he actually
He
is.
tells kids a lot.
He actually is.
Had a loving home.
You could also say Herman Munster was a really good dad. He was. He absolutely was. You guys probably didn't watch the Munsters, but he's a really good dad. Just because he looked like Frankenstein doesn't mean that, he wasn't a really good dad, because he was. He absolutely was. Let's talk about the next hour. In the next hour, we are going to talk Diablo 4. Cameron and I both have beat it. I beat it today. Cameron beat it a couple of days ago because he's better than me. We also have an oops that we're going to talk about. We're talking about the Xbox Showcase, especially the breakdown of what Starfield is going to be. An entire, and there's a
lot.
Yeah, it is to me the most ambitious game ever made. We'll see if it lives up to the billing or not. I don't know. I hope so. It looks like a game. Well, we'll wait till we get into it in the next hour. Steven wants a Pappy soundtrack first. The problem is with Pappy is he's overbooked on so many things, trying to get enough time for him to actually produce an entire album.
Yeah, my South American tour is taking a long time.
Yeah, well, because of, dangerous travel and things like that. And a lot of sightseeing, because it takes a while for his bus to get from place to place, or his jet. Keith on the stream, it says Gene Simmons as far as dads go. I used to love watching that show. I don't remember what it was called, with his son and his daughter and his wife at the time. I think.
Yeah, we're talking about the Kiss singer.
Yeah. Well, there was a Gene Simmons, an actor, and it was a lady, and she was like dead way before you were born. I didn't know you were.
Who was the one with the jazzercising guy?
I don't know. If you know, text us 71307 or hit us up on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. When we come back, we are talking video games. We are talking oops. We are talking James Gunn. You are listening to the Upstate Pulse right here on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. And the show continues during the top of the hour news. And Keith says Family Jewels. Yep, that's what it was. In the Family Jewels, worst pain there is.
I saw you ask if I'd played Tears of the Kingdom yet, Steven. I have not yet. I honestly can't afford to drop the $70 on that this month. Maybe at the end of next month or early August I will, but I just can't afford to drop the $70 right now, especially with Segi coming up next month.
Also, Steven, there may or may not be a Christmas album that I've been thinking of for several years now for Pappy.
Well, you got enough. So,
Yeah,
I mean, what, like 4 or 5?
Yeah, at least 4 or 5, and then like maybe
what do they call that? An EP? He's got enough for an EP.
Yeah, the Pappy EP, the PEP, the PEP.
Do they even do EPs anymore? Since
They
Spotify
do
and all that kind of stuff.
They do EPs. They're just not as meaningful. I don't think.
People buy them. Al Bundy,
Probably.
Yeah. Best high school player of all time, football.
Thank you, Steven. You'll be the only one who buys it.
Alicia Day is now doing mortgage commercials.
Yeah.
I don't know if
that's weird.
It is. It's very strange. No doubt it's her. It's not a lookalike. It's her.
I mean, it's kind of hard for her to not. It's just like, it's Felicia.
I apologize for the occasional stutter or me going or something, because I'm producing also, and my brain has to be other places because stinking Tim's not here today. I hope you're watching because I called you stinking. Peter Griffin, yeah, there you go. There's a great dad. His chicken fights are epic.
They really are.
Still remember being at Myrtle Beach in a hotel room that everything was in Spanish and watching Family Guy for the first time, and it was him fighting a chicken. I didn't care if it was in English or not because, you know,
Honestly, it
he's
being
fight-
in
he's-
Spanish would make it funny.
he's fighting a giant chicken. I think you were too little to remember.
Probably.
I know, Mark. I mean, he's famous. He's one of the best players of all time.
I feel like this Al Bundy guy isn't all he's cracked up to be.
Would it be wrong of me to ask everybody to? No, I'm not going to do it. Just
Do it.
send an occasional text and put "than" in front of it, and just make it gibberish. Because Mark's downstairs doing his show, and so if you put "than" in front of it, it will show up on his text line.
It's too much.
Just throw out an occasional text that says "fan." Paul White is the greatest athlete ever to come from South Carolina. Or something like that, you know, the variation of
That's
that.
something I can get behind.
Don't you be spoiling, Trey. I'll watch it myself when I get home. Even though I don't like them, I'm still going to watch it so I can make fun of it.
I'm gonna watch out of spite.
Exactly.
I'm still gonna watch it.
Just like other guys. Yeah, I learn how to do it so I can make fun of them. All right, Reitzel, this time remember to turn Fox News off. Turn Fox News off when it's done, not now.
And here we are in the inner thoughts of Lee Lonzo.
No, someone texted "fan." Lonzo is the king of all. Mark will not crack on me that much because he's doing the national show and they won't get it. But if he mentions my name on the national show, that would be kind of cool, even if it is in a
Oh, you are
derogatory way.
Q Bill Hader doing the bit. You're just clever.
Bye-bye, Keith.
Health officials around the country are reporting cases of the West Nile virus. The CDC identified 13 cases this year as of June 13th. The West Nile virus occurs during mosquito season. America is listening to Fox News.
All right, there's a cue. Fox News is over. And I'm going to hit that and turn it off. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll probably still.
He did a producing thing.
I did it. I remembered.
Matthew, he remembered.
I'm so proud of you.
Doesn't that just pull the heartstrings?
What are heartstrings anyway? I mean, where did that come from?
I could tell you, but
No. I mean,
I
there
don't
are no
want to get too
strings in your
graphic for
heart.
the air.
Is that like a puppet thing? Where heartstrings?
Veins.
No, I don't think so.
No, they're heartstrings.
Well, you can look it up.
Well, you pull enough of them, the heart
Somebody
comes out.
can look it up. You or Matthew, look it up. Where did the phrase "pulling your heartstrings" come from, or whatever that is? I love learning those things. I got too many things to do. Tugs at your heartstrings. I think that's the phrase.
Yeah. In 15th century.
No. Save it.
Oh, okay.
You may not find it interesting, but I do. Welcome into hour 2 of the Upstate Pulse. I want to tell you that we love our sponsor, Borderlands Comics and Games. And if maybe you didn't know, tomorrow's Father's Day, and maybe you didn't get your dad anything, you know what you can do? Take them to Borderlands Comics and Games. Spend a little time. You and Dad, take them over there and go, "Hey, Dad, find you something and I'll get it for you." There you go. So, and maybe Dad hasn't been over there to realize that the store is now 3 to 4 times the size as the old store. It's at 410 South Pleasantburg Drive, and it's amazing. You can go over there and you can find all kinds of things from manga to Funko Pops to statues to comic books, obviously, used video games, nostalgic toys, so many things over there. Board games, a bunch of D&D stuff, including figures and game modules. I mean, there's so many things that you can find over at Borderlands Comics and Games. So take your dad over there. I mean, the worst thing is dad saying, yeah, I don't really know what I want. I don't know. We take him over there and go, here's a bunch of stuff, find something. And watch him. And if he has his eye on something and says, well, I really don't know, you go get that for him and say, here you go, Dad, happy Father's Day. That's how you do it, Borderlands Comics and Games. All right, we at this building, at least the people who I run with, we have semantic arguments all the time. We also have this thing where a phrase comes up and we want to know where it came from. And then one of us looks it up. In this case, I asked Matthew to look up tugs at your heartstrings, because what's a heartstring? I don't know what a heartstring is.
So it is thought to be in the 15th century, it was believed that tendons held the heart in place. Gradually, the word strings replaced tendons, so the idiom became tug at heartstrings. This was because the heart, as the seat of emotions, is actually fairly recent, about the 14th or 15th century. And before then, it was actually the kidneys, also called the reins, which were believed to be the seat of emotions. And the heart was thought to be the center of intellect.
Okay, a lot of things to unpack there. By the way, I'm not going to noob you because you touched your heart when you talked about the heart, and it touched me. So I'm going to let that go. Plus, there's been enough noobing today already. So there was a time when...
Are you calling a noob armistice?
Well, something really bad could happen still. We still have quite a bit of an hour left.
Catastrophe was around the corner.
So there was a time when emotion supposedly came from your kidneys.
You see...
Dude,
we haven't always had modern medical understanding.
No. I get that, but when they say this comes from deep inside of me, back in the day, they meant their kidneys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and they would call it the reins. That's why the Bible verse Psalm 7:9 specifically refers to the reins. It's talking about your kidneys.
Okay, so all right. So when they say think with your heart, there was a time when people thought you actually thought with your heart.
Yeah.
Okay. What did they think you did with your brain at that time? I don't
know.
What's a brain?
I don't know either. I don't know either.
I just thought our head just,
I'm not an expert of medieval medical understanding.
I got to say, back in my day, there was a lot of inaccuracies that we thought about, like the sun or, the rains.
A Mark on the stream says maybe that's where gut feeling comes from, I suppose, because a gut feeling back then would be that
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Also on the text line, now intellect moves to buttocks, sitting in front of the computer. I just wanted to say buttocks because who doesn't want to say that? Okay, something happened yesterday. Excuse me, and I forgot to mention this. Maybe it's because that person isn't here today. But I was working on something in my office, and you will find if you were in this building and got to take a tour, you go, man, this place is really cool.
Yep, it is similar to that.
Okay.
The idea that emotions came from the gut area.
Okay. Wow. We're learning all kinds of things today. Yeah. That's why you look this stuff up. That's because, a lot of times I will tell someone, hey, you have a computer in your hand, look it up. And yes, I do it in a derogatory way. So we all, just about everybody, listens to music while they're doing their work, because if not, it's really quiet in here. It really is, since the building's not open anymore. So I was listening to music while I was working yesterday, and T2 came in there and said, what are you listening to? And it was Unbreak My Heart by Tony Braxton. It's just on my playlist. And I am curious, especially with Father's Day coming up, what is something... a song on an older person's Spotify list that you walk in and you go, what is that? Does this ever happen to you? Text line 71307 or hit us up on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter at either Newstalk 98.9 or the Upstate Pulse. And I'm like, dude, it's Tony Braxton. He's like, oh, okay. And then I skipped to the next song and it was an 80s song. And I skipped to the next song and it was a Christian song. I skipped to the next song and it was anime. I skipped to the next song and it was LL Cool J. I'm very eclectic as far as my playlist goes.
Which is why whenever I walk into a room, I never have to ask the question.
Yeah. So I think let me change the question a little bit. What on your playlist would you be embarrassed to a degree if a younger person walked in and heard you listen to it? Let's go with Cameron because you're older now.
I don't think I have anything on my playlist that would necessarily do that. I've listened to like a lot more soundtrack stuff. I have like a few more I don't know. I really don't have anything. that I'd be
The only
ashamed of.
thing that it's not necessarily ashamed of, embarrassed a little bit, I guess, is I have the English versions of some anime songs that King Flaccid Patrick Brown showed me, this guy that does them, and they're really bad versions, the English versions that people look at me like, what are you listening to? And I do that on purpose because they're so bad. I like them.
It's one of those things of like, I know, like, all right. So like the one boss theme from Lost Odyssey, the one with like the Japanese death metal rap.
Oh yeah, death metal rap.
It's
Love
like,
that.
I know that people will be freaked out by that. That's why I never really play it like loud enough for people to hear it.
Well, there's the Evil
Stuff like
Calliope
that.
music from Lost Boys that anybody who ever got in my car, especially in the 80s, that I would play on purpose. Back then, we used this thing called a cassette, and I would play it. Didn't have. I would ask Matthew this, but I'm just guessing, and I could be wrong, that you don't have Spotify.
No.
Yeah, because you're not a music guy. You're not anti-music. It's just not a big part of your life like it is us.
Yeah. No. Well, I also just have YouTube Premium, so I just listen to music.
So
for
do
that.
you just listen to a bunch of soundtracks from animes?
No.
Okay. I'm not judging because I told you I got a bunch of those on mine. So
By the way, I've had a lot of interesting discussions at work about my playlist because nobody ever knows what I'm listening to. It's everything from like a podcast to metal. It's just like the other day, one of the guys walked over. He's just like, "Was I hearing a choir? Are you listening to like classical music?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, I just didn't expect that. I was like,
see, and if in my office, which I share with Rob Brown from the Rob Brown Show, who could be listening right now, probably not, because he said he might stop by and he didn't, and I'm not heartbroken or anything over that. I really am. If I don't play music, it's whoever gets in the office first gets to play. That's just an office rule. Even though I've been in that office for a really long time, I think it's a good rule.
it's a fun game to play.
He doesn't play music. There's a scammer that he watches. The guy catches scammers.
Oh yeah.
He's got a voice like an old lady's voice, and he gets on these
It's a
lists
voice filter.
where these no, actually this guy does an old lady voice. He does it really well. And so these scammers call him and try to get money out of his account. And the whole time he's doing stuff where he's actually getting into their computer while they're trying to get into his and stuff. He listens to that all the time. And for some reason, all the people seem to be from India or something, all the guys who are scamming. I don't know why.
Yeah.
This is weird. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to talk about a wonderful oops that we may or may not condone. You're listening to the Upstate Pulse right here. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
How much time we got? Got a couple minutes.
Now, the Carolinas' most trusted forecast from the News Talk 98.9 WORD Weather Center. Mainly clear tonight with lows around
Gotta make sure we have enough time to talk about that One Piece trailer.
Oh boy, that's something to talk about. All right.
Lows around 67. Tomorrow night, chance for scattered thunderstorms. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Luchitsky from the News Talk 98.9 WORD Weather Center. Currently, it's 85 degrees.
5 degrees.
Crisis at the U.S. border.
I'm Charlie James as we're broadcasting from Yuma, Arizona. The vast majority of people are coming through the Border Patrol checkpoints. They're being given clear backpacks, a debit card of sorts. So this is your money that's going for all of this. And they're given a ticket to somewhere else in the United States. So we're talking about over 1,000 people a day.
Borderlines to the Carolinas. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9.
It's been years in the making, and now the most epic comic and game store is finally here. Borderlands Comics and Games. Reimagine, bigger and better than before. The state's premier hobby shop has been bringing the best in comics, manga, and gaming to the region for 3 decades. Come see us at our new enormous location at 410 South Pleasantville.
So Cameron, did you not get me 2 Dr. Peppers?
We have gone to a whole new level.
I might have forgotten what.
Well,
the
now you
usual
got yourself
was.
an extra Mountain Dew.
Upstate Pulse.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
It's all right. You paid for it anyway. So.
That's a fair point.
I brought me some water. I'm good.
Could you hand me one of those?
Sure, why not?
Even though I've disappointed you.
So disappointed. Look, then was like, you're not drinking. Oh, no, we didn't get me one.
I forgot you're not drinking those anymore.
It's okay.
I've also been.
Many job sites, such as industrial plants, shipyards, and factories, knowingly expose their employees to asbestos and did nothing to protect them. Many female victims are being diagnosed with asbestos-related diseases due to exposure to over-the-counter products such as cosmetic makeup and talcum powder. Call 800-712-9910 right now to see if you qualify for compensation, even if you smoked. Don't wait. Call 800-712-9910 to see if you may be entitled to significant compensation. Call 800-712-9910. That's 800.
What's the next movie that comes out that we were going to see? August. Something. Oh, it's Blue Beetle, I guess.
No, it's Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible? Yeah.
That comes out in July. Like July 12th, I think.
Have you ever watched Mission Impossible movie? Matthew?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
Your mission, if you choose to accept it. And let's face it, you're going to accept it, or else there's no movie. You can't just say no, Ethan. They didn't like my messages at the IMF.
IMF.
That is what the organization's
I
name is.
don't remember.
So it's one of those series that
It's been
you
a while.
watch it, but you just
Bird. Right there. Right there. Over my car. What you doing, Bird? What you looking at? Then the other birds.
Doing exactly what birds do.
I mentioned Bird and the other birds, but birds aren't real.
Bird up.
Oh, he's gone now. You heard me talking about him. It's like, oh, I done been found out.
Did you just parody?
That wasn't parody. That was just straight reference.
Parody, like
You said, did you
parody?
say bird up or word
Bird
up?
up.
It's not an actual song, is it?
No, it's Eric Andre show.
Oh. Well, we just seen a couple clips.
Ah, yeah. It's very stupid.
All right, there's our oops intro, which means someone did something illegal or something really weird or something that just annoyed people. We have
Being
a
a genuine menace.
Yeah, we have a parking lot out here in front of the building. Believe it or not, it's a parking lot. And we share it now with, back in the day, we didn't share it with anybody because it was just a field out there. But now we share it with, I think it's the dentist and a restaurant. And some people out there do not park very well. So, and there are some people in here who get pretty angry about bad parking. Well, they're not the only ones, because there's an article about some shoppers teaching a poor parker
Was
a
his
lesson.
name Peter?
No. While everyone has fantasized about calling out obnoxious people who take up 2 parking spots, a group of shoppers in Australia have actually taken action against one. The incident happened in a shopping center in Canberra, where the driver of a black Jaguar used 2 spots to park his vehicle.
I feel like you need to do this in an Australian accent.
No, I'm not doing that. According to the first picture in a series of photos posted on Reddit, I used to do a pretty good Australian accent, but I'm out of practice. The second pic reveals that someone left 2 shopping carts behind the vehicle, blocking it. Over the next 30 minutes, more carts were added to the blockade until 5 surrounded the rear end of the sports car. And finally, the last shot shows that someone chained the carts together, making it nearly impossible to move them. The unidentified woman who posted the photos writes, "I love how petty Canberrans can be." So if If you ever seen someone, and by the way, we don't condone this behavior, we will laugh at it, but we don't condone it. So we're not suggesting that you do such a thing. Neither the staff or management here at WORD or Odyssey Greenville agrees with this or approves it.
Wait a second.
They might be okay with it, but they don't approve it. So have you ever seen that and thought about doing something similar to this?
No, but I've seen people do a lot of different things from bad parkers on online before.
I mean, you can
And-
shame them by taking a picture and throwing it up on social media, but it doesn't mean that particular person's going to notice it
Well, no,
unless
I mean,
it goes
like they
viral.
do things like to get back at them and stuff, mess with their cars and whatnot.
In the end, and I know how this is going to sound, I guess, but unless the parking lot's full and that was the only space available, how's it bothering you? Other than they can't park really well. Maybe they were in a hurry and they had to park there because someone was about to die and they had to rush them into an emergency place or something.
Well, I don't think that you're going to be parking for an emergency at a grocery store or something like
You
that.
could be at a dentist office. It's possible.
I don't think you're going to have an emergency at a dentist office that needs you to do that.
Please
Well,
put my tooth back in.
No.
all right. So Viper Dave says, so I'm torn in this as a car collector. If I park out in the middle of nowhere to protect my car, it is assured that when I come out, someone will be parked next to it, even with an empty parking spot. Thank you, Viper Dave. Thank you. Thank you. Because
Someone else has the thing.
Cameron
too.
can attest that this happens to me all the time. I will park way out, and unfortunately, it's usually some overcompensating truck. Harkens back to Rob's hat.
Bye. She's easy like country music.
Yes.
Bye, Rob's hat.
So so I get that, but I see people parking like that all the time. My first thought is, first of all, maybe they shouldn't be driving because they're probably 75 years old and no one took their license away and they can't see, or they're in a hurry, or they're jerks, or I mean, there's so many things.
If I see it, I'm going to assume you're a jerk.
Okay. I was going to say pretty much if I see it, I'm going to wait and see who gets out of the car. If you're old, I get it because although you can be old and still be a jerk.
Yeah, there are plenty of those.
Yeah, there
yeah.
are old
They're
jerks.
plentiful.
Yes, they are. Because young jerks, if they survive, don't always
If
see
they
the
get
error of their
lucky.
ways, and they end up being older jerks. So what is the worst thing you've ever done when someone's parked that way? Text line 71307. Maybe no one's done anything,
No, I've never done it.
which would be great. I've never done anything either. Not like that. I have pranked people before, but not like that with their cars. When I worked at a grocery store back in 1988, which was a long time ago, there was a kid whose car was kind of light and you could bounce it. And if you bounced it, 3 or 4 people bounced it, you can move it. So every night we were working night stock at Kroger's. Every morning, rather, he'd come out and his car would be moved and he couldn't figure out how. But what we would do is on break, 3 or 4 of us would go out and bounce it. And it didn't damage the car. We bounced it enough to where we could move it to where it would be parking a totally different direction. And one time we got busted by his brother. His brother saw us. Do you know whose car that is? Yeah. Well, why are you? We're joking with him. Oh, okay. And then he went and told him.
Oh,
I mean,
It's what a brother should do, I
Yeah.
guess. But at the same time, we weren't hurting the car.
also, this is like the question of, do you know whose car that is? Probably more than likely they are.
Yeah, absolutely. We know whose
Why
car.
would you
it
do
is.
that to a
Yeah.
stranger's car?
I don't remember his name. He was really short though, but it was a really long time. I do remember it was short. I just remember that. I don't know if you can do that in today's cars, the way that they're made, because this was back in the 80s. And I think the cars had more bounce back then. I don't know. Maybe. Unless it's a smart car, which I don't understand. Do you know anyone who drives a smart car? Because I've seen them. I've seen them a bunch lately. Do you feel safe in a smart car?
those little tiny like box car kind of things.
Yeah,
No.
the little ones, the real small ones.
No.
No, that is completely unsafe.
And someone bought that thinking it was going to catch on. That's the weird part.
No, they're ugly and they're extremely unsafe.
All right, let's get to some video games. We're not gonna play the intro because I'm trying to stop doing anything that I might make an error on. So
If I don't press buttons, I
yeah,
don't get
well, there's
news.
that. There absolutely is that. Diablo 4. I beat it today, and Cameron beat it a couple days ago. Cameron, what is your opinion on Diablo 4? People haven't bought it yet.
I think it's the best one out of the entire series. They've taken a lot of the elements of 2, a lot of the elements of 3, and kind of the atmosphere of 1 to a degree in certain cases, and mixed it all together and made it into a very fun game. And created systems and stuff that allows you to think through and create builds that are a little bit more complex and stuff than 3. I love 3, by the way. I'm not one of the haters. It was just like, oh, it's so bright, so cartoony. I was fine with 3.
All right, really quick. Someone texted Ho. I just wanted to say that. All right, go ahead. They could be texting Mark downstairs. I don't know. Maybe, or they could be texting us. I don't know. Although they didn't say fan ho.
Was it Lion-O?
No, they didn't say fan ho. They just said ho. So anyway,
Was it preceded by Thundercats?
It was not.
Okay. That's a different context in general.
Okay, so my problem with Diablo 4, I only have one problem, and it's going to sound weird. I thought the main boss was too easy, but I spend extra time there are a lot of side missions. I don't know if you do this, Matthew, but there are a bunch of side missions, and you can max the character out at 50, and then they have things called Paragon points, which will up your willpower. You can decide where you want to put your perks that you get, and which obviously can make you stronger, can make your armor better. But I found an attack that worked really good, probably 2/3 of the way through the game. I was complaining a bunch to Cameron that I almost did this thing that I always do. I play a game first, I build a character up so much, and then I stop and move to a different character, because then I understand how to play the game. And I know some other character builds will work better than this, but I stuck with it this time. And found, because we talked about character builds last week on the show, I found a couple things that added to my favorite attack, and it changed how I was doing in the game. So when I got to the main boss, I thought the main boss was a little bit weaker than the other games. There were in Diablo 2, before you get to or was it after the Ancients? Where were the things that just totally tore you to pieces?
The Ancients up on Mount Aria.
No, after the Ancients. The Ancients were hard too.
The Minions of Destruction.
Yeah, those things. Those things are probably the hardest minions or whatever on a Diablo game, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I think they were harder than Lilith.
Oh, I definitely agree.
Yeah. So, but the game itself is as good as Cameron's talking about.
Duriel.
Yeah. Well, and Duriel.
No, Duriel.
Oh, Duriel. That's totally different. That is like a pig showing up in a game, which we've talked about many times. Pigs are my bane. Any video game I play, if a pig shows up, it's going to kill me. It always happens.
It does.
It doesn't matter what game it is, whether it's Far Cry or some ancient game, or like Assassin's Creed. If there's a pig, it's going to kill me. It just always I don't know if it's in my head or what, but it's going to kill me. It always does.
I like to imagine that this means that you can never complete a Legend of Zelda game.
That works for me. All right, we'll use that as my reason for never playing Legend of Zelda, because of pigs.
Sadly, aren't all the regular enemies and stuff, aren't they all like pig-like?
Oh, there's several that are, but I was more referring specifically to Ganon.
Oh yeah, because Ganon's form is mostly pig-like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, there are giant like pigs in Diablo 4 that just tear you up.
I don't remember the giant pigs.
You didn't notice the giant pigs?
No, I'm just like slaughtering everything. So my next question and this is for anyone on the text line 71307 or on the stream, and especially for Matthew. So if you play through a game where you unlock the next level of difficulty, but there are a bunch of other classes you haven't played, do you immediately jump to the next hardest difficulty, or do you start with a new class?
So does the new class not let me increase the difficulty for that class? Because if I have the information that I need now, understanding the game initial playthrough, then I would want to go to the higher difficulty.
It's
before
level
I go to the
gated.
next class. Oh, it's level gated?
Yes. So like you'd have to hit 50 to be able to switch over to the next tier.
It would probably depend on how much I liked that initial class. Then, if I thought that that initial class like really gelled with me, I'd probably just stick with it. But if I wanted to try something new, different, then I would go over to it'd be situational.
Yeah. You'd have to play the game for yourself to
See,
decide.
Exactly.
I get what you're saying, but for me, I almost always jump into playing another class because I want to see the story's not going to be that much different, more than likely, depending on the game. But seeing all the cool stuff that you can do with that class, I usually will go through every class and then jump back and go to the next difficulty. The only problem with that is if you do that, then you lose familiarity of your style play with whatever that first character was. So you have to relearn how you played it in that harder difficulty. But at the same time, that can be fun
I like
because
the challenge.
yeah, because it makes it more of a challenge. Cameron, for the most part, you do that, right? You just
Yeah, because in this case for Diablo 4, they have different rewards, different enemies to fight. Also, the way that they have progression set up is you can't just change the difficulty willy-nilly. You have to beat a capstone dungeon to be able to go further. Like you have to beat a specific thing to be able to unlock the next difficulty, which also you have to beat the campaign to do as well. So the way that they have it set up in this one, there's more of a goal in mind. And if I remember correctly, I think the end is when you defeat the Echo of Lilith, which I've seen is like the challenge for
yeah, but
this.
you have to get to the hardest difficulty
Mhm.
period to do that. And I've did that on some games, but on a game like this that's new, which how long has the game been out? A couple weeks?
Yeah.
So it took me a couple weeks. We did have vacation in there, but it took a couple weeks, and I put a ton of hours at home for show purposes, of course, to try to get through the game. Like I probably played 5 hours today to beat the game because I wanted to beat it. Plus, Cameron wanted to talk about it. I wanted to talk about it on the air.
Well, the other thing is-
Story wise, it's very good. It's open ended because there's going to be some DLC, which there usually is for Diablo. It is the best selling Diablo game of all time, if I understand so far. And a lot of people are into it and going to continue playing it. So we'll see. I posed a question a couple of weeks ago, which would sell more, Diablo or Legend of Zelda? And I still maintain that I think it's going to be Diablo, but there's some other games coming out later on in the year that might change that, including some things that dropped on the Xbox showcase, which we're going to get to after the break. We need to take a break. You're listening to the Upstate Pulse right here on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
I'll also say this, like when I switched over to Nightmare and they introduced a whole bunch of other modes and stuff too.
Well,
I was really enjoying that. And I found stuff that immediately changed my build. Like I found a scythe that makes any darkness skill that you use chill enemies. So all of my abilities now can freeze my opponents, including I changed my corpse explosion from like being like a straight up explosion to being like a blight that covers the area.
well, obviously there's a couple more things I need to do before I can move on when I get home.
Yeah.
But as soon as I can, I'm going to go into that difficulty. Then I'm going to switch to another player.
Yeah.
I just want to because I'm also curious about what's available to the new character, because you have shared stash, shared money, and things like that, is my understanding. So so your new character has an advantage as far as being able to grab anything that's in the stash and stuff like that.
Absolutely. There's also all the renown rewards and stuff too. It makes
Right. So I'm curious how that's going to work with a new character. And does that feel like cheating when you run through, but a bunch of that stuff will carry over to the new character? Does that seem like cheating for the new character?
No.
Not if it's built around that idea.
Yeah, it's built around that idea. And besides, you had the rough time to start off with. You built yourself up and you built up the resources for that. So it makes it better.
This game, you can gather a lot of money.
I'm at 16 million right now.
Are you? I only
Yes.
got like 2 or 3 million because I just broke everything down. I didn't sell everything. Then later on, I started selling more.
I sell all rare and magic items. I break down legendaries I don't need. I was having a discussion with my buddy who I usually play Destiny with, and he's like, "Well, how do I get this?" I was like, "You got to break down legendaries," but I don't want to break down my
Yeah,
legendaries.
it's hard to do that because especially they have powers on them. You could take those powers, but
Yeah.
that also breaks them down, but you don't get the material.
And I'm just like, "Are any of those powers useful to you?" I was like, he's like, "No."
Which is what I started doing. Unless you plan on playing another. So these characters, you can play several different ways the same character class and build it differently.
Oh yeah.
And it's like playing a brand new thing. Like I'm playing as a druid with a companion build. So I've got poison vine, I've got 2 wolves. But you can play it as a werewolf or as a werebear. I mean, there's several different ways that you can play just that class alone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different fun builds. Also, maybe tomorrow we could play some if you wanted to.
We will see at some point. Might want to do something really old man tomorrow and mow the lawn.
Here's the thing, though. You've always enjoyed that.
I have. My aunt and uncle would get me as a kid and bring me to their house where I would get to eat really well and stuff to teach me a certain way to mow the lawn, and I would mow their lawn and do the yard work and stuff. And it may seem like, oh, they were just getting cheap labor. No, I got stuff out of it.
Yeah, they taught you skills.
I got better food than what I normally get.
Yeah.
And I got to ride a riding lawnmower, which I didn't have at home, and a bunch of stuff like that.
All
And
I'm
I learned,
thinking of is the thing I sent you earlier.
I learned how to cut in patterns, which is very important for older people. You know about cutting in patterns, Matthew?
I've never cut a lawn in my life, and I don't ever plan to.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, in the nerd roundtable, we're going to talk some more video games because I want to. The Xbox showcase happened last week. That's I spent a good portion of my Sunday watching that. It was a couple hours, and then they had a separate showcase just for Starfield, and that showcase was so worth it. Just having some of the developers talking about the game and their favorite parts of it and things like that. So I'm about to showcase a little bit before we get to Starfield because that's the main thing I want to talk about. Some things dropped. The next Fable game is out, is going to be out, and they made a big deal out of it, but I can't tell.
Yeah, you don't know what direction they're going.
I don't. I mean, it's basically they went Jack and the Beanstalk on it. But you can't tell if that was just cinematic or if it was actually what the game's.
And I don't think that's what the game's going to be about. I don't think Richard Ayoade is going to be the.
See, and I have no idea who that guy is. I mean, I know it's a big deal.
He's a famous British comedian.
Okay, I mean, I thought he looked familiar, but I had no idea who he was.
I think you'd like him if you saw some of his stuff. He's very, very off the wall, very dry.
Yes, and as we know, those are my favorite things. Not being sarcastic, they actually are. So I don't know about that. Let's see. One of the surprises was Ubisoft dropped a new Star Wars game, Star Wars Outlaws. I don't know if you've seen about this, Matthew, but it is supposed to be open world.
See, and that looks good to me.
It does.
Like I'm really looking forward to seeing how that game shapes up and everything.
Yeah.
Also, I gotta rewatch the trailer or something, but I think they just reintroduced Kyle Katarn into canon. Like Kyle Katarn was the main character for the Dark Forces thing, I believe, Jedi Knight and Jedi Academy. Do you remember the Jedi Master and Jedi Academy?
That was a long time ago.
I know.
We played Jedi Academy. But Sea of Thieves, Legend of Monkey Island. You ever play Monkey Island? Me either. It's an older game. So Sea of Thieves keeps adding stuff like I haven't played Sea of Thieves either. Chris Evans used to be on the show for a long time. said he likes Sea of Thieves, but it's one of those that you got to play together with people. And the way things are, it's finding a group of people that are not busy on the same night to actually play together. Seems really difficult, especially the older you go and people have families and things like that, unless they're night owls and stay up really late. And I have trouble doing that. Fallout 76 is still going on. And when it first launched, I remember, I think it was at E3, like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, whenever it came out.
Yeah.
Cameron and I were all excited. We're watching, and they say online MMO. I was like, oh no. And it was not a good launch. But since then, they've improved it to the degree where you can actually play the game like a regular Fallout game, and you don't need to play with anybody else. But a new thing is dropping for Fallout, and you can go to Atlantic City. So an entire new thing. And also, I know, hey,
Yay, New Jersey.
yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to go?
It was already a apocalypse.
I like to think
save me,
that
please.
in Fallout, New Jersey is just normal.
It's just
Nothing happened
regular
in New
New
Jersey. It's
Jersey.
just the normal
Yeah, the
New
bomb-
Jersey that it's always been.
The bombs drop did nothing to New Jersey, and you still can't turn left there, even in post-apocalyptic New Jersey.
Maybe the bombs never dropped. Maybe they never hit New Jersey.
Well, yeah, because they
It's
knew
like-
what's good for them.
Yeah,
So
it's
they
just like-
stayed away from New Jersey.
why would we even need to hit that target?
Yeah,
We could
it's-
use that bomb on something else.
No, it's like, nah, we don't want to make them mad. Also, there's an update coming pretty soon, Fallout 76, where they introduce werewolves as cryptids, which would be kind of cool. I mean,
That
as
would
long
be.
as they don't drop out of the sky like Yaguais or whatever they're called. What are they? Yaguais?
Yeah, it was Jaguars.
This is Yaguais.
You got it.
There's a new Forza Motorsport. Matthew, do you play racing games like that?
Not
Me
really, no.
either. I think we did some the early on ones, but then it just kind of got. Even though the realism is really good. All right, now to
I have a friend that likes the series because he's a big car guy, but that's all I know really.
Racing is fun in games, but it needs to be part of something. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be on its own.
Yeah, I agree.
my
All right,
opinion.
Cyberpunk 2077. The launch of that was not very good, but I played through it and I really liked it. All the upgrades have made it even better. They are dropping it's Phantom Liberty, which is a DLC, and it will cost $30 for the DLC. But according to the trailer, and of course they brought Keanu Reeves out to introduce it and everything, the trailer makes it look like, and I've read some other things that maybe possibly, this is a spoiler, but it's been out for a while, maybe your character won't die. So there's something to cure your character. One of
There's
the
a
only,
better option.
yeah, one of the only, you've got like 3 or 4 ways to end the game. One of them is to give your personality over to Johnny Silverhand. So in essence, you die because he's invading your brain because of AI and a bunch of stuff like that. But they say they have a cure. So if you could actually have your guy or girl, depending on how you're playing it, survive and not die, that would be kind of awesome. Because that's the one part I hated about the game, was that no matter what, you're still going to die.
I still feel like it's inferred on the Pan Am's group, which the avocados, that they actually have a lead on saving your life. Like in some of the end credit stuff, there's like things that insinuate that.
Yeah, but
Like there's hope with that one.
but
There's not hope with all the rest of them.
well, I disagree. I don't think there's hope in it. And but this new thing might actually give you hope. And then there was Starfield. And I said this last hour, I'm gonna say it again. Starfield to me is the most ambitious game ever created, at least according to what they're talking about. Over 1,000 worlds you can explore. You can you can harvest minerals. There is you can set up bases, which yes have been done on other games. You can build your own ship, and according to how you build your ship, you can bring on crew members who become part of your crew. Duh. So you can also, someone built a mech, and it just looked like a giant mech spaceship, which actually flew off. All the environments look really good.
also a duck-billed platypus. as
Yes, the duck-billed platypus was awesome, and it's another one of those games. If you like Fallout or you like Skyrim, there's a good shot you're going to like this. But it's in space, and you get to explore planets. There's over 1,000 planets. I don't know if you can own all those planets or do whatever to those planets, but possibly you could. It's a game that probably will last. I don't know, how long would you think it would take you to explore over 1,000 planets in a video game?
Well, in a Bethesda game, probably a year or so.
Well,
By
you
the end of that, you've probably explored it all pretty easily. It's
Well-
probably going to be there's probably going to be a lot of planets that just basically nothing on
well,
them.
you're there, and you don't. Well, probably resources, probably
Exactly.
the
So
atmosphere.
I was watching a interview between one of IGN's probably best interviewers and Todd Howard, and I was wondering about this, but he mentioned that a lot of the worlds are procedurally generated.
I thought he
so-
said before that they weren't going to be.
I think, well, with this, I think it kind
Yeah,
of
if they're just
confirmed that
procedurally generated, then I don't
some of
care.
them are, and then I think he was saying that it's a mix of both.
Yeah, because he was, from what I saw, he was saying that your friend could land on a planet and it'd be totally different in your game if you landed on that planet.
Yeah.
Which is what you want. I think you want some. There's going to be some set planets that
It also
that the story is based around that are going to have the same stuff, but some of the other planets are not. You also can dogfight, and you're dealing with space pirates and things like that. Which, if you like space battle, which I do to a certain degree, and instead of just getting in your ship and someone else flying it, you actually have to fly your ship from planet to planet.
there's also boarding and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
The main thing from the discussion from that I liked was that it sounded like they're going to go in the direction of trying to fix some of the major issues that we saw in Fallout 4 and Skyrim, that being the lack of actual interesting depth to any of the companion characters and the stories being kind of bad, and the entirety of Radiant quests as a whole being hopefully removed. So it sounds like there's some potential. It's still going to be a Bethesda RPG, I'm sure. So it's probably going to have a lot of issues, but I'm sure I'll have a fun time with it.
All right. Mark is asking on the stream what it's called. It's called Starfield. It comes out in September. And the thing is, if you have Xbox Game Pass, you get it for free. So it's a day one launch thing. Technically, it's not free because you're paying for the subscription, but you're not paying the full price for it. And I'm just really looking forward to the game, and I hope it doesn't disappoint like Fallout 76 did. If it's as good as what Skyrim is to me or Fallout 4 is to me, then I'm gonna have fun with it. There was some discussion about it being only 30 FPS, which I figured meant that Cameron wouldn't want to play it.
I think you're doing that thing where you're
I'm
insinuating.
just playing around.
Look,
I was going to say, if that's a thing, then I can guarantee you that's one of the first mods that's going to get released.
Well,
fixing that.
I don't think I can tell. Maybe that's why. I look at it and go, okay, I still killed the guy.
I can tell you right now that I can tell.
It could have looked, well, good for you guys. I mean, I get that you
What's
guys
the
are in-
prescription on your glasses, Dad?
Yeah, I'm not wearing them right now because I'm sitting in this chair, and we don't wear glasses in this chair. You're listening to the Upstate Pulse right here on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. I don't know. They haven't mentioned anything about mods, but they seem to like mods. Bethesda does. Yeah.
They'll release the
They're supportive of it because it keeps their game going. They
Yeah.
realize it.
That's why people are still playing Skyrim 11 years
literally
later.
hired so many ex-modders.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, if there's one thing that I will always give Bethesda, is their support for mods. Outside of that, outside of the Creation Club stuff for a little while, where they tried to monetize the heck out of
Yeah, they had a
that
stint
stuff.
of that.
yeah,
And then they started giving a bunch of that away free. So
yeah.
What was I going to say?
Because the community literally just refused to do it, and they lost more money than they made off of it, so they just gave
Yeah.
up. We still need to talk about the One Piece trailer.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we kind of suppressed that.
Yep.
I wrote it down, but it's in yellow. It's hard for me to see it because I don't have
Yeah.
a pen over here.
So about the 30 FPS thing, if it gels well, then it doesn't bother me. If it's clunky and jittery as crap like Gotham Knights was, then yeah, I have a problem with that.
It's not gonna. I mean, from everything we've seen, where they're
It
showing
looks fine.
where they're showing actual gameplay, or
Now the question is, are they using a PC for that?
I think some of those say on
Oh, yeah,
Xbox Series X.
If it's 30 FPS on consoles, I wouldn't be surprised. But I can guarantee you that my PC can probably.
No,
run
I'm
that.
talking about the gameplay that they showed.
Yeah.
Because we're judging it by what we've seen. Like that was mentioning is like the gameplay looked fine,
No.
and my assertion was the question is like whether that was on console or whether that was on PC.
Yeah.
So if that was on console, then yeah, it's going to be fine.
The
I'm sure-
footage that they showed was most likely going to be more so related to the PC than it is the console, because they're going to be using a dev kit version of the game to get that kind of footage.
Yeah. So I'll be curious to see what it looks like on console.
Yeah.
I gotta say, watching that showcase, I was just excited the entire time. Everything, the one lady with the sandwiches,
Yes, that was hilarious. Well, what made me really excited?
and
is, like,
then mustache dude who said, "I just want to punch people," and they showed a playthrough where he's just going through punching people off of balconies and stuff. And
They sure did throw a bunch of awkward, stiff game devs on a live stream.
yeah, but
I didn't think they were stiff. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Oh, you thought they were stiff? I did.
glass half empty,
Yeah.
glass half full.
You're just so critical,
I'm
man.
not going to be critical of a bunch of game devs being stiff and awkward. They're not.
Well,
That's not their job to be like super charismatic.
And
Like,
together
I'm
we
not,
have
I'm
a
not
full
harshing
glass.
on them when I say that. I'm just like, oh, that's
you know what I did? I looked at those people and saw my people. So because I'm awkward like that, at least I think I am. So I just, Viper Dave, fingers crossed for Space Khajiit.
Well, we already have an old Oblivion alum coming
Oh
back.
yeah, the fan.
The adoring fan.
Yes, him
Oh, yeah, I
coming
did
back.
see
That's
that.
I can't wait to space you and then
Come
figure out how
on.
you come back.
It-
No, that's half the fun.
Yeah, no,
is
no,
you
I
kill
know.
him and then he
Remember,
comes back.
remember, I had him on the Wizard's Tower, and I just
Yeah.
kept inching until he finally fell off, and it's just like
oh, yeah.
the first time, because they don't warn you. The first time you play that game and he's back the next day, it's like, huh, what? I thought I killed that dude.
And I'm playing as my bad guy character's like, what are you? I'm not even angry.
At least they upgraded him to the degree where he doesn't look like that dude did.
He's still well.
Apparently, according to the thing, he shows up in ESO.
I think he did. Yeah,
He does.
I'm trying to remember where because it's been a minute since I played.
It's at the Coliseum.
Lightning can only strike twice so many times.
All right, time for the lightning round where we squeeze in as many things as we possibly can. Matthew reminded me of something that we watched earlier because you know what? I sometimes forget, and I wrote it in yeller. You can't see it,
Never
but
write anything in yellow.
well, I didn't. There's not a pen in here. People steal pens.
you
It
could
just
always have typed it on your phone.
yeah. Well,
Could have asked me. I have a pen.
well. Okay, fine. I didn't do any of that.
There were avenues
Because
that
I
you
was-
could have taken.
I was so stunned by the amazing thing that we watched that I couldn't wait to talk about it. So
I don't know what amazing.
we've known for a while that One Piece is getting a live action adaptation by Netflix. They just released the first trailer. It's not good, people.
It looks so
it's
bad.
not-
It looks bad.
I found some positive in it because I'm me and I believe in sunshine. I thought the Luffy's punch effect was not bad. The Barate looked really good. Sanjay I thought looked good. I like
He
this.
doesn't have the twirly eyebrows.
He does not. He didn't talk, so we don't know what the accent's like. And also, I like the sword fighting for Zoro.
I
do.
like that they cast everyone according to their real world ethnic equivalent that Oda has mentioned over the years.
Yeah, it's what they would be.
Which
Yeah,
which he
Which was
said
really cool. I like that they went to that.
he said from the beginning he was going to do that, and so I agree. That's really cool. But Luffy's voice bothers me, and maybe it's because you've heard Luffy's voice for some of you over 1,000 episodes. I'm still not there yet, but
Oh, I don't like his English dub.
yeah,
voice.
I do.
I think that the voice actor does a fantastic job. They're very talented. It's just not a fitting voice for Luffy, and from how I hear it.
And from what I can tell, I think Nami looked good. I mean, and
Yeah, but the conversations between all of them is just like it was just so dead.
Yeah, it felt
We're
it
not
was
a
MCU
crew.
dialogue. It was MCU writing. That's
so you're
really
saying
what it was.
AI could have did better if AI wrote the
Right,
dialogue.
if you
for
fed a
them?
bunch of MCU movies into an AI, it would spit out that dialogue. Yes.
So anyway, check out the One Piece live action trailer and see what you think about it. I'm gonna watch it again later and see maybe I was being extra critical just because Matthew is in the room. It's like
My aura. Of
yeah,
hatred.
it's just
Your hater
yeah,
aura.
it's just like oh, that stuff's
I
getting
wake up early just to hate longer.
yeah,
Matthew, Lord of Hatred.
that stuff just gets on me. It's like oh man, I feel so negative right now.
Is it like Zagoo?
Yeah, it's almost like Zagoo. All right. Everybody's watched Price was Right. All right. I believe everyone in this room has watched Price is Right before.
Price is wrong,
yeah,
Bobby.
yeah. And you know the wheel, spinning the wheel.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this dude got so excited. I never understand the celebrations when you win. Got so excited when he was celebrating that he won to get up there that he dislocated his shoulder and could not.
How?
And could not in his celebration. He dislocated his shoulder.
Punched the air too hard?
I don't know. I haven't seen the visual. So his wife had to spin the wheel for him. Yeah, I just, she got a 95 though, and got him into the showcase, and then he won the showcase.
He did it injured. He played injured.
Yeah.
Wow. All right,
Apparently, you can see in the video his arm just hanging down, and as it says in the story, he won the showcase and then went to the emergency room.
What a sissy. You
What
should
a
have.
champion.
Yeah,
He
way to
should've
go.
put it back
No,
in.
no, good on his wife. His wife is
Also,
like,
good job.
his wife is like, yeah, you wouldn't have been able to do that. All right, really quick. Scientists have found a hidden corridor in the Great Pyramid of Giza. What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
They call James Spader?
A hidden corridor. And see, I'm thinking Mummy. You're thinking Blacklist.
No, I'm thinking Stargate.
Oh yeah, Stargate too. I forgot all about
That's
Stargate.
Egyptian.
Well, the Pyramid of Giza was used in was it Mummy 2?
Yeah, you can also go Mummy.
So what they did is people were outside using infrared and stuff like that to map out the thing, and they found a corridor, and they don't know what it's for, and apparently they haven't allegedly they haven't explored it entirely yet. So it could be anything in there.
I think they're going to find a whole lot of sand and dust.
You know, you're probably right, but I think they're going to find a mummy, and it's going to be the beginning of the end of all things.
I don't think that.
The mummy
Unleashing an
apocalypse.
ancient curse.
Yes.
Who has mummy on their apocalypse bingo?
Thank you to everyone who listened to the show and watched the show. My favorite thing of the night on the stream right now from Chris, Darth Matthew. You are now forever Darth Matthew, the dark
boy.
side.
Darth
Always looking at the dark side of life. Have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll talk to you and see you and all that kind of stuff next week. And by the way, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
I couldn't come up with a bit to say off of Darth Matthew.
Because you like it so much, you have nothing to say. That's what
You
it is.
seethed in response.
Yes. No, it was like, he's right. I am Darth Matthew.
Good.
Except if I was Darth, it wouldn't be my name. You would have to take another name.
You're right. You're right. It would have to be something.
Darth. It's like a guy
Yes.
named Mr.
This
Mister.
is a Darth.
Doctor. Doctor.
Say goodbye, Darth Matthew.
Hi ho. Bye bye.
Say goodbye, Cameron.
Hey, don't steal my thing. Hi-oh.
I am not about to act like a frog. Happy Father's Day. See you,
on.
everybody. Goodbye.
Do it with me.
Goodbye.
Rainbow
Hi-ho.
connection.
I got out rainbowed connectioned by Chris Evans, so I can't.
And the
I
great
can't do it.
Kermit the Frog
It was
off
the
of-
Kermit the Frog off. He beat me, so I can't. Even though he's not on the show anymore, I'm contractually obligated to never Kermit the Frog anymore.
There's a rule.
Yes, I lost. That's how it works. You lose. You don't do it anymore. Mark says goodbye, Darth Matthew.
Goodbye, Mark.
Goodbye.